If you work in analytics, and especially for a subscription business, you have definitely received a request about how many reactivations are we having per month, churn, active subscribers, things like that. Ideally, you would like to be able to deliver a dashboard that looks something like this: clean daily trends of active users, new subscribers, and churn. This is rarely easy because typically you don't have a clean subscriber table. You have a messy transaction data set coming from Stripe, the App Store, or maybe some SQL database. Today, I will show you how you will get from this messy raw data into this beautiful chart. And we're going to do it the senior data engineer way. Because usually analysts falls into the trap where they are trying to model this just by grouping it by month, using the payment as an indicator if the user was active or not. While this might work for a simple trend line, you will fall short when you will have to start to ask real business questions like how many churns did we have the last month, or how many of the net adds came from reactivations. To answer these, you will need to stop counting rows and instead model state changes with window functions. The secret to solving this isn't just better SQL, it's better architecture. We will not pipe the raw data straight into the dashboard, but we will build a specific logic layer in the middle. See the overall concept. So we have the first layer, which will be the raw data to the left, messy payments table, transactions, refunds, etc. In the middle, we will build subscription extended table, which will hold all of our logic. We will create some clear flags: is new, is churn, is reactivated, which all of them will be our source of the truth. The third layer is the reporting layer, which is basically just a dumb, fast aggregation level that feeds Tableau, Power BI, or whatever tool you're using. Now, you might be thinking, Marcus, why don't we just write one giant SQL query fueling this into the dashboard and we don't need the middle layer? Technically, yes, you can do that, but you will regret this in 3 or 4 or 5 months because of mainly 3 reasons. First of all, you would like to want a single source of truth. For example, your churn metric will not only be used in one specific dashboard. Your marketing team would like it for emails, finance will want it for some other reports. If you define the logic in the middle layer, you will define it once and you don't need to copy paste the code and the logic on different places. The second reason is the version control. To track logic in a semantic layer of a BI tool is messy. Doing it in SQL with GitLab is easy. Third, and the last one, for ad hoc queries. At some point, you will get a request to, can you just extract me a list of all the users who churned yesterday? When you have the logic in your mid layer in your data warehouse, this is just a select star and you have the data. So let's jump into the code and build the logic layer. For the middle layer, where we will keep all the logic, there will be basically 3 steps in this query. I've set up the basics, which we will do here. I will create a subscriptions extended table based upon our base table with raw transaction data. I have here like a sample data set, which I created myself, which looks like this. We have a user ID, we have a start date, and an end date, and a plan type. Basically, this is also a very typical table you will have for a subscription business. What we will do is that first we're getting the raw data in the CTA. The second step is to use some window functions to look backwards and forward. We will and in the last step we will add some additional flags. But just let's start to set up some base information we will need for the users. So here in the first question we need to answer is, when did the first subscription happen for the user? And we are going to use window functions here all the time, and here we will use the minimum of the start date over partition by user ID. And we will name this first start date. Perfect. The second one is when did the previous subscription end? Here we will use the lag function and use the lag end date over partition by user ID, and we will also order by start date, so we're getting it correctly as previous end date. Looking at when does the next subscription start, we will use the lead function, and we will then not go for the end date but for the start date. Here we will basically flag this one so that we have it clear in the table. So what we will do here is, first of all, if it's a new subscriber, is it the very first time, we will say when start date is equals to this one we defined up here. Then 1 as 0 and as new subscriber. The second question here, did they have a gap of more than 1 day since the last sub? This will mean that we are having a reactivation case. Here we will say case when previous end date is not null, because if it's not null, there was something before. It's not null, and date diff start date previous end date, here is bigger than 1. We will say it's a 1, else it's a 0. And as reactivated. The third question, or the third flag we will set here is if we had a gap before the next subscription will come. This will mean it's a churn. And here we will say case when date diff between next start date and date day is bigger than 1, or next start date is null, where we don't have any subscription coming at all. This will mean we have 1, else 0, and we will name it as churned. The last flag we also would like to add here is an information about the churn date, because typically you will get questions about the churn, and it's also always handy to have it in the table. So we will say case, we will actually just capture all of this, because we will only have a churn date if it's a churn. So we will just copy this guy here, but instead of then 1, we will say then date add. We will add 1 date to the end date. I will tell you why in a second. Technically, the churn is being active the coming day. So if a subscription is running from until the 15th of November, because the user is still active on the 15th of November, so the churn date will be on the 16th. Therefore, I'm adding the 1 day, and this will also make that the net adds will sum up in. Run this now, and we will have a look at the result. Then let's check how the flags actually are looking. So let's focus on, let's see if I can scroll down a little bit. So here, user 100, we have the new subscriber flag is over here for the first row. It doesn't come again then. This number 1 here is for the other user 1000. We also can see that we have a churn here at the third row. Why is that? Because we had a start date and the end date was 13th, and if we're looking at the next subscription, it starts over a month later, so this will be a churn. The churn date will be on the 14th of November, 1 day after the end date. The next row will then of course be a reactivation, because The user is not new, he's been here before, so we will set the reactivation flag here. And the last row will also be a churn because we don't have any new subscription coming in. This is the logic layer that we have been building. We have our mid layer, our logic in a SQL. Now it's time to make the aggregation. I will show you how we will do it. I mean, obviously there is a lot of different ways of doing it. I'm making it very, very clean right now, and I will show you the steps. So it's here basically 5 different steps to get the aggregated table. First of all, I will just create an array of all the dates that I need, just to make sure that I have all the dates I want in the table. The second step, just grab all the subscriptions from my extended table, which will be the table I created here. For the active subs, we will we will start from the date table. That's from dates D, and we will here join on our subscriptions table. On the date is between, so we need the subscription to be active between the start and end date, and here we are counting distinct user ID. The events, we're going to make it similar, s.start date, and we will make from here. We actually don't need to start with the dates table, right? So we can just go straight from the subscriptions table, and here we will make count distinct case when s.new subscriber equals 1, then as user ID, and just to be clear, as new subs. And for the reactivation, we're making it similar. Group by 1, and here I see that I've actually forgot to group by the date also, obviously. And for the churn events, we will have to separate them because we will not use the start date, but we will use the churn date. Put like this, churn date, count this thing. Here we will say where churn equals 1 and group by 1. There we have all our information. And in the end, we will just make a final merge between all of these tables. We will start with the active subs table because this one, in any case, contains all the dates. And we will and here we will left join all our tables, in the 2 other tables from above, the events table and the churn events table on the specific dates, and we will then just add in our metrics from these tables, getting it like this. The active subscribers, the new subs, and the reactivated subs together with the churned subs. And this table will, I think we need something, yeah, here we need the S, and I think this will make it, not yet, of course also here. And if we're running this, we will get our very clean, okay, now it's ordered in the wrong, I'm not sure how it's ordered, but you see how it is. We have the specific date, how many active subscribers we had, how many new, how many reactivations, and how many churns. And this one basically you can just like feed it into your BI tool, you can for sure, as I made it here in the beginning, just extract it into a Google Sheet and you will be able to make these cute charts in a very easy way where you are showing the active subscribers per day. You can also show how many new, reactivated, and churned subscribers you had per day. And this is the difference between a junior query and a senior data product. We've stopped to try hack together churn number inside a BI tool. Instead, we built a robust logic layer in the warehouse where it belongs. Now you have a data set who doesn't just draw a pretty line, it answers the hard questions, who churned, came back, etc. All of the queries are documented in this Substack article, together with also some notes and a recap of what I discussed in this video, so you can just copy paste it from here. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the questions. I'm Marcus and see you in the next video.